Hi, it's me again with Corel Draw tips and tricks, and here's another printing idea that you could do on a t-shirt or a piece of paper. I'm just going to do it to show my grandkids, but here it is. Pretty easy to draw. And I stole this idea from that other gentleman that did that other 3D on printing. And we're just going to draw one real quick. So we need to get a box, make it square, rotate it 45 degrees, and then we need to kind of squish it up a little bit, make it look like that. And then we need to make a duplicate of that box. Control D and make a duplicate, holding down the control button. Just bring it down a little bit. Go ahead and take your virtual segment delete key, and there's several ways to do this. Several ways, but then take a 2-point line. Let's zoom in here a little bit. Take a 2-point line and go from that node to that node, that node, to that node, that node, to that node. Then we'll go ahead and delete these other lines that we cannot normally be able to see. Now, we need to look at these with the shape tool, and I've got the arrows going down, and I've got the arrows going down, so they're going to work. It's easier almost to do the top first, so let's do the top. We'll take a 2-point line, and I'm going to nudge it over so I won't have to interfere with the box. And since I drew them in the same direction, they should work. And we want 1, 2, 3, 4 squares. So we're going to get the blend tool, select both of them, go to effects and blend, and we're going to blend 3 times. And then we could put those back. But also what we could do is, hopefully it'll work, Control D and make a duplicate. And because it's a blend, there won't be any rotation. So we need to go, let's back up here, don't make a duplicate. Go and break the blend apart and go to Object and ungroup it. Well, let's group it, because then we're going to Control D and make a duplicate and then rotate it 90 degrees. Didn't work. I didn't think it was going to work. So let's just nudge those back over. There's probably a mathematical equation to do it. But then let's take a 2-point line. As soon as we draw it, nudge it over. Go from node to node. And then we're going to do the same thing with the blend. Go ahead and go to Object, break the blend apart, nudge it over. Now we need to make this exact line that we had here. So we need to take a 2-point line from there and nudge it over. This is what's so nice about the blend tool. I nudged them down. Wasn't looking at the keyboard. That doesn't really matter. Grab them both and hit apply, and then just nudge them up after you break the blend apart. Now, I know there's a way you could probably duplicate that and run it over, but it's not too difficult. Just go ahead and make another line, nudge it over to the right, another line, nudge it over to the right, and then blend these guys. And once you've already got your blend set, it doesn't really matter. You just hit apply. Now let's move these back. Now, if we don't have any leaks, this will work. So we're going to make everything in red. Take your Smart Fill tool, and it doesn't have to be red, but we're going to color this in red, that in red, that in red, every other thing in red. And I think that's got it. Now, Control D and make a duplicate. I'm going to nudge it over just for grins. And I need to make the outline more distinct. So I already did that. I just clicked black, and you could change the width of the line, make it a little bit more, maybe even scale it with Object just in case. Now on this one, we're going to take and have no lines or have no fill. And well, really I should have kept just a box. And let me just delete some of these interior lines, because now what I need to do is make the shadow. And there's several ways you could do it. I tried doing it with the colored deal, and it just didn't really work. I don't know why. I'll tell you what, let me ungroup this. All right, now we can fill this in with a dark gray. Let's move it anywhere. And then go to under shadow and make a shadow. And you can fuzzy that up and make it as dark or light as you want. Then you go to object and break the shadow apart. And then you can put it underneath your block. And I'm going to make it a little bit smaller. And like I said, I stole this idea from a guy that does it on paper, and it's unreal. So you're ready to print it out, with the exception you need to put in some cut lines. And then you just take the 2-point line and go from that side of the paper. Try to go like right underneath there. And if you don't get it the first time, you can always move your line down. And then take your virtual segment delete key. And you can do two things here. You can cut out those lines and then go to object and break the curve apart. And then just, because this is, well, we didn't group it around. If I would have grouped it, I could just grab the block and move it out of the way. But anyway, I took away the outside line. Then that black line is just a cut line. So you're going to cut it with scissors, up, over, down, down, and back over. And then lay it on something. I even think even if it's a solid background like a green paper, that would look pretty cool on a t-shirt or just a printing. It might even engrave if you do it black and kind of make it look like it's floating, and have this off the wood, and cut that all out. But anyway, kind of a fun project. Hope that helped a little bit. Thank you for watching.